Hey everybody, this is Harry coming to you. I'm trying to adjust this here without knocking the damn thing down. Coming to you from my home. Everybody's asleep except for my daughter, who's I don't know what she's doing. She's playing in the other room, I guess. Wife's at work, so I figured I'd do my weekly films that I've watched um, tonight and for this past week. So um, thank you everybody for your comments on the last one I've done. I really do appreciate it and encourages me to probably do more of these. And hopefully y'all be looking for it. And basically, I'm doing it because Bob Harrison does it. But also, because when he does his, um, it also inspires me to kind of watch some films that he's watched that I had never seen before. And Mike has joined in and done his video. So, and I watched it the other day, and he had a lot of great films that he watched. He's a show and tell guy. I'm too lazy to get this stuff. I'm afraid of waking up the grandkids because once they're up, they're very rambunctious. They're very loud, and they were up at 3:30 this morning, and I had to go to work at 7, so it's been a long day. So, and I've been sitting here listening to my 80s music LPs, um, reliving my teenage days. So, anyways, let's get started. This is from my diary from the letterbox. It kind of helps me keep track of the films that I've watched. And so, last Saturday, we'll start on the 22nd, I watched two films. And one of them, and both of them were on Amazon Prime. I know nobody likes to stream. Um, but I can't own every movie. I can't afford to own every movie. And if there's a way for me to watch these films, I'll do it. So, so I watched Kirk Douglas's film debut, which came out in 1945. It's called The Strangelove of Martha Ivers, and it was directed by Louis Milestone, and it stars Barbara Stanwyck, Van Heflin, Elizabeth Scott, Kirk Douglas, Judith Anderson, uh, Rowan Bonin, I guess that's how you say it, Daryl Hickman, Ann Doran. See who else is in here. Blake Edwards was in it as well. And it came out in 1945, like I said. And it's they're three childhood friends. They grow up. One's kind of bad. That's the Van Heflin character. I can never remember. See, Mike does this so well. He does it with ease. Can't remember the character's name. But anyways, he comes back to town, and many years later, after they had grown up, there was a Barbara Stanwyck's character lived with an aunt who was kind of strict and had to do things her way. She wasn't happy about that. She tried running away, and the police come get her, find her, and Van Heflin's character, when he was a young man, brings her back. And then, not to give too much away, but something happens to the aunt, and it's a secret they kept for years. And then they wind up years later. Kirk Douglas's character, after he's grown up, becomes a DA. He's actually married to the Barbara Stanwyck character. Becomes the district attorney of this town, and then and his father was a prominent attorney at the time that this happened. And anyways, they had found a guy who they pinned the blame on for the murder. Yeah, there you go. I spoiled it. Anyways, good movie. I quite enjoyed it. A little bit on the long side, I guess. An hour and 15 minutes, almost 2 hours. Not a bad movie. It was actually good to see young Kirk Douglas. And every time I looked at him, I looked at Mike. It looked like Michael. So that was The Strangelove of Martha Ivers. Then the next one I watched is an Elvis film that I had never seen. My mother was a big Elvis fan, so growing up, anytime there was a movie on or concerts or whatever on TV, we always watched. And so I kind of have a sentimental nostalgia thing for Elvis. And this also was on Amazon Prime. Um, it was called Easy Come, Easy Go. And oh, by the way, from look at that. I'm sorry. Hold on for just a second. I gotta fix. Okay. Sorry about that. I gave the Strangelove of Martha Ivers 3.5 stars. Then the other film I was just starting talking about is Easy Come, Easy Go with Elvis Presley. I gave that 2.5 stars. Um, Goofy movie. Elvis is a frogman in the Navy, and he comes across a treasure, a sunken ship with treasure on it. Um, Also stars Dodie Marshall, Pat Priest, um, Pat Harrington Jr. Played Schneider on Good Times. Also played on a cartoon too, but I can't think of the name of it right now. Pat Harrington Jr., Skip Ward, and Frank McHugh. Like I said, this came out in 1967, uh, towards the end of Elvis's films career. So it wasn't that great. I gave that 2.5 stars. To be expected, I guess. The next one I watched also was on Amazon Prime. um, it's kind of like looking for something different to watch. Mel Gibson movie that I hadn't seen before. And I watched a film from 2010 called Edge of Darkness. And it stars Mel Gibson, Ray Winstone, Danny Houston, Sean Roberts, Dennis O'Hare. His daughter works for Mel Gibson's daughter works in a company, chemical company, does nuclear stuff, and they were making weapons. And anyway, she gets killed at the beginning of the movie, and he is a Boston police detective, and he's on the hunt for the person who killed his daughter. I really enjoyed this movie. It was directed by Mark Campbell. Um, Good performances and a Boston accent too, by the way, by Mel Gibson. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then on the 24th, rent it from the Red Box. See, no streaming here. 2019 film called Midway, about the Battle of Midway, directed by Roland Emmerich. I'm not sure if this was a remake of the 70s Midway that had Henry Fonda in it, Charlton Heston. I liked the film. I gave it 3 stars. Um, some of the acting in it I didn't like, especially the guy. I can't think of his name. I think I want to say it's Ed Screen. I didn't care for him too much. The CGI was way too much. I guess I'm old school. I prefer the old practical effects where they used real planes and such. But I guess they couldn't do it with some of the scenes that they were doing. But some of the CGI was really obvious, especially like when they were on deck of the aircraft carrier. Um, that it was green screened or computer generated. Somebody walking across it just looked fake. Also stars Luke Evans, Woody Harrelson, Mandy Moore, Dennis Quaid, who I liked. Woody Harrelson played Admiral Nimitz, and Dennis Quaid played Admiral Halsey, who had the shingles, something that my wife had, just getting over with recently. So Midway, I gave it 3 stars. Good action sequences in it, but it's a lot of CGI, and that for me was a downer on it because it was obvious. I don't know, just old school. Then on the 25th, I watched the Sylvester Stallone movie I streamed on Netflix. One I'd never seen before called Nighthawks from 1981. Also stars Rutger Hauer, Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian, So you had Rocky, Rucker Hauer's character from Blade Runner. This came out just before Blade Runner. Billy D. Williams, Lindsay Wagner, the Bionic Woman, was in it as well. And it was directed by Bruce Malmuth, 1981. It's a buddy cop film. Rucker Hauer plays a terrorist, and they have to capture him. So, in the streets of New York, he's bombing and killing people, and he's a little crazy. Nighthawks from 1981, 3 stars. Also on the 25th, I watched a early Mel Gibson film that he made in Australia. Very heavy Australian accent. Came out in 1979. It's called Tim, directed by Michael Pate. And also stars Piper Laurie, Alan Kurtz, Pat Evison, Peter Gwynn, and Deborah Kennedy. And Mel Gibson plays a young gardener who's slow, and Piper Laurie is an older woman who hires him on to do gardening work and stuff like that, and then he winds up falling in love with her. And it was an okay movie. It was 3 stars. It could have been like a TV film, but it's early Mel Gibson film, and I enjoyed it. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. It was different to watch. Then on the 26th, I watched The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. That was a Netflix DVD rental, Blu-ray rental, DVD rental. Came out in 1943, a British film, directed by Emmerich Pressburger and Michael Powell, famous for The Red Shoes and other films. I always heard talk about this. One of my friends, Joey DeAngelis, on Facebook. What was his name? YouTube name. Can't think of it. Anyways, it stars Roger Livesey, Deborah Carr, Adolf Willbrook, Roland Culver, James McKechnie, bunch of British actors and actresses that I didn't know. I know Deborah Carr. It's an early role for her. And it's about the life of a British soldier, general, colonel, through the years. Very good film if you need to. It's on Criterion. Matter of fact, I'll probably pick it up. But I gave that one 5 out of 5 stars. It's 2 hours and 43 minutes. It's quite long, but it doesn't seem that long, and it's very interesting. The color, the restoration on it was really wonderful. And The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. Check it out. Then on the 27th, I rented from the Redbox Knives Out from 2019, directed by Ryan Johnson. Starring Daniel Craig, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Shannon, Don Johnson, Toni Collette, Christopher Plummer, and a host of other people. Very good film. I enjoyed it. Old whodunit type film. Heard they're going to make a sequel to it. I gave that 4.5 stars. And then finally, not least, so you all can go to bed, or if you haven't fallen asleep during this video already, Frozen 2 I watched with the grandkids and my daughter Erin yesterday night. Directed by Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee, with the voices Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Jonathan Groff, Josh Gad, Evan Rachel Wood, Jason Ritter, Alfred Molina. For what it is, it's good. I don't remember the first Frozen that much at all, but I gave this 3.5 stars. Kids loved it, and that's the reason why I gave it 3.5 stars, because kids loved it. They laughed and enjoyed themselves. So anyways, that's it. Any comments about the movies that I posted or any suggestions, please let me know. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. And thank you for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.